It's your boy Demetrius behind the lens, and this is another dope episode of the Creative Vibe Podcast, episode 11. And today, I've got a really dope guest, a brother that I've known for a long time now, since about 2016. He's an actor, he's a writer, author, and he's also a music artist as well. I don't want to take too long because I want to dive into the diaspora of his career and all of the great things that he's done. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to the world, to the UK, and to everybody else, the one, the only, Jermel Howard.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes, man. So how you been?
Been good, man. Been real good. Blessed. How they say, blessed and highly favored. You wake up in the morning, you start there. Everything else should be easy. So, yeah, blessed, man.
All right, man. Well, that's good, man. I want to say thank you first and foremost for coming on the show, blessing the podcast. Absolutely. You know, I try my best to do the show, when I can, how I can. I'm very busy, with kids and, a lot of work and stuff. But I do love to talk to the people, and this show is dedicated to people like yourself who I feel like have a very dope resume, who I've seen work and grind and graft over at least the last, 8 years, and consistently add more dope aspects to their career. Absolutely. Being involved in so many dope projects. And a lot of people don't know. A lot of people do know you, but I always say a lot of people still don't know you.
Right.
So my goal being in the UK, being from New York, is to help push people into an international market.
Absolutely.
Both ways, from the UK side and also from the US side. So it's an honor to have you on, brother.
That's dope. Appreciate it, man.
Nah, no doubt. So what I like to do first is I'd like to go back and let the people know a bit about the early years of who Jermel Howard was, where you grew up, and kind of like the early years of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Long Island, and AKA Strong Island is what we call it, or Lord's Island is the street name for it. But I grew up in Long Island. I came up a little rough, a little different than a lot of people. My mom was like drug dealer. So we were in shelters. We were in foster homes when she got locked up. She was in the streets, and I ended up in a foster home. And me and my brothers split up in different foster homes. And I used to take the bus. Before that, I was taking the bus from a shelter 5 towns over to get to a school, Roosevelt, a school called Washington Rose in 5th grade. So I was late every day, and that's how I ended up getting left back. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Starting early, and they, people don't, they think you're dumb or something because you got left back, but it's more circumstantial. But from that point, when my mother got basically deeper into the streets, they placed us into foster care and split me and my brothers up. And after that, that's when I actually met the rap group that I came up with. I met them there because I was next door to one of the kids that was with them, and they all came to his house in the front of his door, and I done met him already, and he had a little basketball court, so I was going next door shooting at his court or whatever, but they all was in front of his house. I'm outside, and they like, come outside, we want to fight you, and I'm looking like, and he's like, yeah, I don't want to fight K. And I was like, I'll fight K. he was like, they like, who is this?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll fight him. He don't want to fight. I'll fight him. And they like, you don't know you, man. You ain't got nothing to do with this. And they wouldn't fight me. But after that, we all became friends after that. So that that ended up being my rap group. And the first time I got into music, we all had a group together, and we became best of friends, man. And that's how I came up. From that point, that's what kind of like put that in me, like to do something different in entertainment, my first look at entertainment anyway. That was the first thing I did.
So me and you have a lot in common then, because I grew up on Long Island, but Brooklyn. So shout out to Brooklyn.
No doubt.
Yeah.
You're the first person that said that too.
Okay.
That acknowledged that Brooklyn was
part of Long Island.
Yeah, I have that argument so many times.
It's the first borough, and then you have the next county, Queens, and then was it Suffolk or Nassau?
Nassau,
and then Suffolk County, and then you got like Shelter Island and all of that.
There you go.
Yeah. So I know. Yeah.
Salute.
Salute. So we have a lot in common. So I grew up in foster care as well. I was taken away from my mother in 1998. You know what I'm saying? And I want to just say big shout out to my man DWI.
Yes,
He's
sir.
powering the whole podcast, the Creative Vibe podcast, being powered
Indeed.
by DSN right now out of Wall Street.
Yes,
so I want
sir.
to make sure we let the people know that that's where we're at the tip of Manhattan. You know, aka the old New
Right by the
Amsterdam.
bull. Right by the bull.
Yeah, word. But we ain't got no bull here. We straight
Exactly.
facts right now. So,
Absolutely.
But to dive back into that, yeah, I grew up in foster care. St. Christopher's was the agency I was a part of at the time.
Wow.
So, you know, my parents, you know, they had me quite old, and you know, a lot of poverty, a lot of dysfunctionality.
Yep.
And because I dropped out of school for like 72 days in the 5th grade.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't want to go to school anymore because it was a constant fashion show, what you wearing, this and that. And I just had a lot of real problems at home that people just, you know, I just was like, I'm not here for this.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, so eventually I just said, F it, I'm not going to school. And my father was getting real sick, so he couldn't be the disciplinarian no more. So I would just stay home and watch art shows all day, Bob Ross and other art shows that were on PBS.
Love me some Bob Ross.
Yeah,
man.
I would just go into a zone because his voice and the
He'd be
calmness.
like, you want to just take a little, just a little sea moss green, and you just make a little nothing.
Some Indian red.
It's just little nothings. And you want to take a little blood suede.
Yeah,
and
but some crazy names
tap,
for the paint.
Just tap it. And
Yeah.
it's just life just happens. And then
Yeah,
he
you
used to
create your
put me
own
to
world.
sleep, man.
Yeah.
It don't never come out like he say, though. You know,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
paintings don't never, I tried it. I was like, the little nothings ain't turning into trees like when you do it, you
They
know.
look a little different, right?
Right.
So yeah, I spent a lot of time doing that, and you know, and then obviously my parents died young. You know what I'm saying? When I was 2000, my mom passed away on the hip hop's birthday, August 11th, 2000.
Wow, sorry to hear
And then
that.
my pops died not too long after that in 2004. So you know, like, so life is, you know, and I had a best friend who was young, who I fought, who the whole block made us, because, you know, I only had a white mother. I had a white mother. He had a white adopted mother. So they
Right.
used to make us fight all the time, because at that time there weren't white people in Brooklyn like that.
Right.
So, and I was, you know, they made us fight, and we wound up having this big fight, but then we became best friends, and, you know, stuff like that.
That's
So
how it
very,
be.
very similar sort of,
Yep.
you know, I wouldn't call it dysfunctional. I would just call it, you were thrown into the blender right away.
Yeah. I grew up so fast, man. When my mother was running the streets and doing her thing, hustling, I was basically taking care of my little brothers, you know, feeding them and, you know, figuring out, like, when we staying at somebody's house, you know, my mom would be like, yo, y'all gonna spend the night over here. I'm making sure we all good together in the
Yep.
corner wherever we stand. We staying in this bed. We staying in this bed. I'm holding them down. Nobody gonna treat nobody different. Like,
Yeah.
I remember almost me and my uncle, God bless the dead, almost got into it for real because I was gonna beat his ass. He hit my brother. He was watching us, and he hit my brother, and I was like, you can't hit him like that, bro. Like, next time you hit him, we gonna scrap. And that was my uncle, and that's how tight me and my brothers was, you know. And you know, so it does. Everybody goes through them some type of circumstance, but I believe it's meant to be that way. You
Yeah,
know, for
yeah.
whatever reason, once you start figuring out what the reason was you had to go through X, Y, and Z, then you'll learn how to read the universe the right way, you know, and see how it was actually laid out for you to do things.
So what do you think, going through those particular things, the system, you know, a bit of dysfunctionality growing up, things not, you know, was your father around? Or?
No.
Okay, so like, do you see yourself now, the person you are now, do you feel like those things, like, obviously they did contribute, but is there anything specific about what you went through throughout that childhood time period before you became independent and a man that has helped you become, you know, the person you in the work that
Absolutely.
you've accomplished today?
It taught me a lot about balance, for one, because my mom didn't have balance. She was only on one side of the spectrum, you know, and she left, and you know, she left school early. She had me when she was still in school. She left school early, so she didn't get all the education. She didn't get, you know, that full school experience that would have gave her some of the just the foundation to learn other things.
Yeah.
She just had all street knowledge, and you have to have a balance of that. So I think that taught me that I need balance, and then one thing lead to another, because I guess I don't want to say that it's her. The reason is her because I went to jail, but I picked up hustling and thought that it was easy because I seen how she moved, and I end up getting locked up. And that is a part of my life that changed my life because of who I met when I was locked up. Guys just like, yo, you're bugging. What are you doing here? Like, yeah, you know, and then kind of like open my eyes to some science stuff, and then science start to actually unlock my brain. But I did learn a lot. Like I said, one thing about balance. That's mine or yours?
That's maybe yours. It's all right.
One thing about balance, and another thing is leadership, because she was a hustler and she was definitely a good leader. She just didn't have the balance. So the way she moved, hustle, shake and move, I'm going here, I'm going there, this is where we going, this is what we doing, I locked that in, and I still use that to this day. And I gotta now, you know, I gotta reteach her that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you remember you used to move like this, you used to do that. Like, you got to get back to that energy, but not, you know, on the legal side.
On
but
the legal side,
yeah,
of course.
you know, but you know, to have that in your heart, that type of ambition and things in your heart, to like, let me move like this. This is the best way to do this. And she always knew what we were supposed to be doing at that time and how we need to move and how we need to survive. And those are some survival tricks I picked up from her. But things like that, you know, life just prepares you. So you taking all these experiences and letting the experiences teach you, you know.
That's fire. That's dope, man. I mean, I salute you because obviously, you know, I'm one for, you know, growing up the way that I did. I decided that I wanted to defy the odds. And just, you know, prove to myself that I could go far in life, wherever that might have been. I don't know what, at that time I didn't know exactly what it was. It wasn't necessarily based on fame. It wasn't that I wanted to be rich. It wasn't that, you know, it was a combination of those things,
right,
of course, but it was more like, yo, I just want to live a life that feels exhilarating, purposeful, exciting, and rewarding, and also making other people feel good, being able to put other people in a position, because, you know, when you grew up the way we did, you kind of looking for someone to look out for you. You know, when you're young, you always think like, okay, you're looking like, is someone gonna see my talents? Are they gonna be like, hey, this is the guy? You know, you hear other stories of people getting signed or picked up or this. And that. So you're kind of like, you know, you're looking for that, and a lot of times you do run into the wrong people with that, and it gets kind of dark. And then every now and then you come across a few of those people in between all of that who really do like push you, and then that kind of gives hope to your dreams.
Their intent,
and
they have good intentions, man. You meet some people that got some good intentions. I've met some people that just had good intentions but didn't have the resources, and
that as well.
And I had I had so much to offer talent wise. You know, especially at the younger age, I was out there battling people in music and rap battles. I was doing it all. I battled Biggie.
What?
Yeah, I battled Biggie.
The actual Notorious B.I.G.
The B.I.G. I battled him. Long Beach Greek Fest.
What year was this?
This was like, don't get me the line. It's
gotta be obviously 90, yeah.
I want to say 6, 5, something, one of them.
Wow, yeah.
And I was a little bitty thing, but I had heart, and I was, I can freestyle my ass off. I was like on them. So it was a big circle. Everybody, Lauryn Hill was in a circle. There was a bunch of people there.
So from then you was already kind of defying the odds yourself.
Absolutely.
What kind of kid comes from, you know, what we come from, and it has the opportunity to jump in there? Because you're already written off after a certain point. They're like, all right, he's going to go there. Just the elements, the ingredients here say he's done.
Exactly.
And then you go and do that.
My math teacher used to say that too when I was in. You ain't going to do that much, you know, because you don't like this or you don't like that. I'm like, no, it's not that I don't like it. I just don't. We're not connecting the way you're teaching, and we don't get along because you don't have patience. You know what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with kids with maybe even higher intelligence, you might not be able to recognize that it's because of the way you teaching it. Change the way you teaching it. Everybody don't absorb the same. You know what I'm saying? And we just didn't get along. They used to say that all the time. You ain't going that far, but. Clearly,
clearly, he's gone far further than you would have probably imagined. So.
Right. So yeah, I used to jump. I seen these ciphers, and I was a kid. I used to just jump right in and start battling people, and they'd be like, "Who is this kid?" But I was going in on them, and so it created a little buzz from doing stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. So now, with all of that, where does acting come in the beginning? What set or planted the seed for the actor that we know now as Jermel Howard?
So I started taking my last few dollars and going to Manhattan and battling people in front of record labels in music. And what happened was I ended up getting picked up by somebody, Fat Joe's uncle and his team. They picked me up and brought me in the studio. And I ended up getting signed by them. Fast forward, I didn't know the business that well and found out that I wasn't getting what I was supposed to get, and I wasn't getting nothing actually. And so I got out of that. But then there was somebody I met when I was on tour with him, because I was opening up shows for a bunch of people. And the guy was just like, "You should get into film, man. You got a good look, you got a good character. You should try to get into the film thing." So then I was walking in Manhattan and I seen an open audition for a Burger King commercial. And I was like...
It's crazy. You just walking by and see that?
Yeah, I was like, let me walk in here and try to, Okay. And I booked it. And I was like, oh, shit, I booked something. And I got $30,000 for that.
What?
Yeah. So I said, wait a minute.
Wow. That's
I'm
how
done.
old were you about this time? Like
I was about 27... 26,
27.
I was about 26, yeah. Because and so after that, I was like, you know what? I said, I don't have to argue with nobody. I'm not like,
it's a different energy.
It's a whole thing. And I was like, I like this. But I started looking at it as a hustle. And that's where I feel I was wrong when I started.
What's the difference? How, like, as doing anything?
Yeah.
What's the difference between looking at it as a hustle versus a craft or a passion?
Because you got to think, like, when you're doing something, you don't want to be in respawn. Like when you go shopping for groceries, if you go and shopping for groceries while you're starving.
Oh yeah, you spending milk. I do. I buy all kind of extra shit.
There you go. I end up like, I don't even eat this for real.
$30,
like that. I'm getting
£30 budget.
I'm buying
like
chips,
60. Yeah,
eating them while I'm shopping. I take
a
a banana. I eat it just shop. You can't do that while So
that's a fact.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So it's like, I lost my train of thought.
Basically, you treated it as a hustle.
So that's what I was saying. So what I did wrong was I was looking at it from a hungry perspective, and it caused you to respond differently. And then you living in response and not in creation. You know what I'm saying? So every time I'm going, I'm thinking how much money I'm gonna make, how much money. And it wasn't until I booked Marvel Luke Cage, and I was on Luke Cage, and I'm in the trailer, and everybody like, the producers, Marvel, and the director from Netflix, and they all like, yeah, was Jermel ready? Is Jermel ready? And I'm listening outside the trailer. I'm like, yo, that's Marvel, and that's Netflix. They waiting on me, And then it's something just kicked. Like, I think I really want to be great in this now. Like I changed my perspective.
So up to then, because that was, obviously that was a few years ago.
Yeah,
but I remember checking out the episodes where you were in it. In the first episode, I think you was like, surrounded by a bunch of people, and it was like some killing scenes.
Yeah, I killed like 5 people in that.
Yeah, we'll get into that because it was a thing that you talked about, I think, the other day on the station, and we'll tap into that. But so wow, even up to then, it was. So what was different? Like from the hustle, what clicked about them? Speaking on behalf of you and waiting on you. What clicked from saying, okay, not hustle, I need to treat this way? In
my head, I'm just thinking, like, this is Marvel. When I was a kid, like, that's what me and my brothers, that was something big for us, like Marvel.
Okay.
And I was always a big comic book head and loved Marvel and X-Men and all of these. So it's just like, wow, this is the thing that I always dreamed of, and, just connecting with
you're a part of that Marvel universe
now. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm like, I'm like amongst Marvel. So it's just like it hit me like, why don't you actually dive into trying to figure out how to be great and have. I want this more. I want more of this. And once I said that to myself, like I want more of this, I started watching some Chadwick Boseman interviews, and he said something about being great, and he was just mentioning, take the harder route. He was like, I guarantee you, it's more profitable for you than the less route. You're gonna get more out of the long way doing it the way you're supposed to. So I'm like, I just jumped into this. I didn't do it typically the way you supposed to. I didn't really learn anything from anybody. I just jumped in.
Okay.
So then I started rewinding and going back and saying, all right, let me walk the steps and learn different skills and things.
So up to then, how were you? Because to learn roles and to study your line, it takes a certain level of, natural intelligence.
Indeed.
I think you have to have a certain level of brain power to remember your lines.
Yeah.
And to not just say the lines, blah, la, 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 but to actually characterize them.
That
right?
has to be have to be in you already. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something you kind of have to have already.
Yeah.
Right? It's like freestyling and stuff. You got to have a certain level of
there you
just
go.
natural knack for this freestyle
Which
flow.
it helped,
Yeah.
that I was into music, because performing, it preps you for stuff like
Okay.
that, a little bit. So me being able to perform in front of a crowd or battle just randomly, anybody, it kind of gave me that comfortability to perform. So
Okay.
that knocks the butterflies out,
Yeah.
So now I can actually audition and I can perform, and I'm comfortable doing that. I'm fine.
So what's the difference of a Jermel Howard before Luke Cage, right, in terms of his preparation and doing acting, versus and treating it as a hustle, quote unquote, to after that and realizing you need to be, I guess, more of a craftsman with it?
Absolutely.
What is how do you approach the work that you do?
Well, now
Before and after.
I actually do a lot of homework, and meaning I take the character they give me and I go back. If it's a real character, like if I'm playing somebody, I watch hella interviews on the person. But if it's somebody that's not, it's a character that's not a real person, I ask a lot of questions. I go then into my own toolbox, what I call a toolbox, where you have characters of people you met in real life, and you bring and see which personality can fit the character or close to that,
connect to it.
and then you use different things. And then some more tools you use is giving the character its own life. Like when you watching Denzel, and everybody know that they use the finger, like he point, hey, I run shit, you just live here, huh? This shit right, that's his own character choice. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it says in the script, use your finger and point. We know that to be his own character. Good.
That's probably how he yell at people when he get angry.
Right.
Listen, baby.
Or he's seen somebody doing it. Like that's what he put in his toolbox. He might have seen his father talking to his mom or wherever. So I go back into my brain and pull everything out of my toolbox and see what I can use for this character. Can I use the pliers? Can I use the hammer? Okay, I don't need the screwdriver for this one. I need these two, and you use the tools and craft the character. So it's a lot more work that goes into it. But if you love it, that's normal. I was hustling it. I wasn't loving it before. I was just, this is a hustle. I made this money, so the next thing I'm gonna make this money. My next thing. But when I fell in love with it is when it changed. Everything changed. The roles changed. Do
you look at your work before then and after and say, damn, I'm getting better?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And you have to do that, because you have to, if we was in space and there was no stars and no planets, it's just dark, and you was doing 1 million miles an hour, nobody would know that, because there's nothing to compare your speed to. You know what I'm saying? So it just looked like you're just sitting in space, but you're going 100,000 miles an hour. So you want to actually know where you came from and your progress. It helps you, because completion is confidence. You know what I'm saying? I've done this, I've done that. You've seen, talking to yourself. I've done this, I've done that. I came this long. I've changed this. Say those things. I say them out. I don't do that no more. I remember back in the days when people get on camera. Remember back in the days, they used to always be cool and do this shit. that fake chew. That's something that everybody used to do. I used to be like, why do people do that? And then caught myself doing that one time. Like, that fake chew. I'm like, so things like that, little things like you can see that you changed and you grew into an actual actor, a good actor. You wanna acknowledge the changes for sure. Yeah.
That's dope, man. I mean,
absolutely.
I think that's good to be able to go back and refine yourself and refine yourself. I think that's what really I think like the actual objective of life is like to build your character. Like, you know how you build a character in a video game, or you know, because if you look at all the video games now, like My Player, everything's about your player
2K.
and your journey and choices you make and how you want to make it look right. And they spend a lot of money and developing that part of the game where you can go in and go on a journey. To me, that's like, and it gives people an escape because they can do things, without feeling the consequence, and they can build something that maybe quickly that they actually can't maybe do or feel like they can do in real life. So you can kind of emulate that through a simulation called the video game.
It's dope.
I feel like the real simulation in metaverse is the real world, and you are the My Player that's basic with just a plain canvas who has to figure out a way to tool itself.
That's real.
And tweak itself.
Absolutely.
And, stuff like
and
that.
and are we in a simulation?
We are.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is what it is. And that's one of my big beliefs too, as far as, when it comes to spirituality and stuff like that. I believe that like we are literally in the body of something. You know what I'm saying?
Like the game said in the beginning of the documentary album, the guy said, the quality of your living is, he says the rich gets richer and the poor gets poor. He says that's because you don't understand what's going to happen to you. He said life is a game, basically. He said the quality of your living is totally dependent on your ability to play the game.
To play the game, that's it.
And I play the game. And when you understand that you are who you say you are.
That part. And
you build that through, one, I think, learning who it is that you are, genetically, nationality-wise. You have to understand what you're a part of on this planet. And then spiritually, I think you have to dive into some spiritual diaspora and understand that your body and spirit. Well, I look at it like this: some people have spirit, and some people got spirit and soul. To me, there's a difference, right? So you can have a spirit, which I feel like is what animates you. What is what moves Jermel Howard's body.
Interesting.
Soul, when you remember back in the 70s, soul,
right,
they didn't say spirit.
Sure.
Soul, that's a different element.
Indeed.
That is the element that gives you the pop locking. The you know what I'm saying, the spinning on your head, the compassion for other races and other people, like the Native Americans had here in New York City when they let the Dutch come over and build New Amsterdam on the tip of Manhattan, which we're right in the middle of.
Absolutely.
And when you do history and you travel like I have and you've gone places, you realize, damn, some people they got spirit, like the spirit to do things.
Yeah.
They don't have soul.
Indeed.
Soul's a whole different thing.
You right about that. That is a whole different thing. And I think that, there are some robots out here, which are just functioning on responding. They just responding to life, and it makes them robotic. And a soul is the only thing that can go against just the actual normal response to life. Your soul can lead you to something else. Yeah,
it's warmth. I think the soul is warmth. The spirit is like, it's just operational. It's like, all right, 1 + 1 = 2.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? If I have a gun and you don't, I win.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Generally, like it's very, very just, operational. Where soul is like, I don't know if that kind of hurts if I take this person's life based on, like that ain't right.
It's compass, kind of like giving you a moral compass and things like, I get what you're saying.
It's warmth. It's like a warmth. It's more like less reptilian.
There's
compassion.
Know what I'm saying?
It's more warm blooded.
That makes sense. That makes sense, because you got to think that everything doesn't have a soul. You would think, like we was talking about the shark. The shark and the baby.
The shark is very spiritual. It's very, like, when I say spiritual, it has a spirit. It's a shark, operational.
It's a fighter.
I'm going to eat. I'm going to kill.
Indeed.
Whereas I feel like dolphins have a soul.
There you go.
You feel what I'm saying? They're a bit
killer
more
whales, dolphins.
Yeah, because they not going so they kind of there's a bit of a brain there. That's why people love dolphins so much.
The intellect,
Because it reminds them of a human being where you can
they
kind
connect.
of
I believe that too. They got a soul, and they're using more percentage of their brain, and that functionality also has a lot to do with it. Like they using a lot. They using echolocation. They reading vibrations and frequencies.
Yeah, you need a soul for that. I think
absolutely, because it's basically an antenna.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's your connection to the higher power. You know what I'm saying? So whatever that might be to you, that's what it is. So with that being said, then going into the acting world and embodying certain bio characters and being, obviously you've been Tretch.
Yep.
You've worked as Al Green on the Al Green movie.
Yes. Love and happiness.
Which I think is dope that you had an opportunity to do that. I was very proud of you to see that you did that, because I met you in 2016 and I kind of seen you, jump across to certain things. Obviously, the Purge movie was fire.
Yes, man. It's called The First Purge.
So if you haven't seen that, you're into the series of Purge, make sure you check that one out, especially if you're into black culture, because it's a spin on us.
And there's and my boy Jovian Wade, everybody know he's actually from the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the actors in the UK. Shout out to my guy, Michael Ward. Shout out to Kano. Shout out to everybody who's doing their thing here. What we're gonna try to do though is definitely let this interview highlight the greatness of Jermel Howard, so we can get him over to the UK.
That's right.
And get him to mix and bridge that gap the other way.
Oh man, listen, it's long overdue.
Yeah.
I've worked in a lot of places, but I haven't worked there yet. So the collaboration is long overdue.
Well, we got some people that's gonna check this out. So we're gonna, directors, and producers and people like that in the UK. Please holler at my guy Jermel Howard.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? We want to get him over there to the UK with the Mandem and turn up properly. So with the whole like spirit and soul thing. So when you go into characters and you're playing these, which I think are great placements. Okay, Purge, that's a series. That's a great placement. With a cool twist. If people pay attention to the movie, it's an experiment done on black folks.
That's it.
Which has always been done for a long time. And then it flipped to unity through the dysfunctionality. They had a great moral story to it, to being Al Green, to being Tretch, playing a piece in a story, to being Tupac's brother. Yeah,
Mo
being
Preem
brother.
Shakur. Yep.
I heard you say that you get, sometimes what happens is, and I forgot what you called it, meta something, but it's like you get stuck. It's like what happened to Jim Carrey, where he gets into these characters and he kind of can't come out, or Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger. Sorry.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
So what it is you when I talk about using tools, some people, it's called method acting.
Method acting.
And some people have such a strong imagination. There's Einstein said imagination gets you further than knowledge. It's going to take you further than knowledge. And it's because of his ability to imagine the things that were not in front of him. Let me imagine myself doing the speed of light and then ask myself questions while I'm in that imagination and answer them, write them down, and then bring that. It's like you pull these answers out of the ether.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that imagination has to be so powerful. And that is what's happening. You basically, your imagination is so strong that you become a character. And that is what they call method acting. So you actually becoming this character. You live for a while as the character. Like most people, when they into method acting, they on set, they don't even like to be called their real name. It's like, I'm Jake. Call me Jake. Don't call me Jermel. Some people are in deep like that. So I fell into a character like that, like in Marvel Luke Cage.
How long does it take? Like, when do you feel it? Like, oh, I'm kind of like does something take over you a bit? Do you start to feel? Okay.
Yes, and it's happened to me twice. So the first time on Luke Cage, before Luke Cage, it happened in Power. So in Power, after I killed this white lady, shot her.
Yeah, I remember that. I saw that. I was a Power watcher. So when I saw you in there, I was like, oh, my guy is in Power. Right,
So when I shot the lady in the head, I kind of like, if you watch it and you watch it back now, and I shot in the head, I was just sitting like, And, I was stuck there.
Feel good
like,
about
oh,
it? No, let me stop.
no, man. It was like, that was the point. It was like so real looking and feeling. I was like, damn, I just killed this lady. And I'm looking and she's bleeding and out the head and shit. So it kind of, it froze me for a minute. Then the dude tapped me like, yo, you gonna, I'm like, oh, Tariq. We started chasing him.
Yeah.
But I fell into that, like, yeah.
But did you feel like, yeah, I want to kill this white lady? Like, there's something like a, maybe not, and I'm not trying to say that you have a hate towards people, but maybe there's somewhere in us, as let's say black people or people of color, where, there's this bit of, there's a little like
some get back.
Yeah, there's that and so that comes out in the scene a bit.
Nah, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was more like, I just killed somebody, and it was called for. So it was like, this is what is needed of me, and I just killed somebody, and it's like, yeah, I did that. You know what I mean? It was kind of like I'm stuck in the amazement of I just killed somebody. Yeah, you freeze in it, and it's just like, oh, okay. Let me get out of that energy, because it was like I was stuck. Like, oh shit, I just killed somebody. So
what do you think happened to Heath Ledger then? Do you think that it just didn't? He got so into the character that he couldn't come out or something?
Yes, what? I do believe that. That's what Jack Nicholson, everybody that is that has played the Joker has mentioned that dark area. But it's not just the Joker. It's a lot of roles that people play and they had to snap out of. Like Will Smith mentioned some stuff.
Well, Emancipation. I was there for the movie premiere or release of the film in London. He came to London to do it, and we were there in the audience. And there was a point where, like the white actor, obviously it was a slave movie, and he was just saying about the white actor that was with him, like, look, don't call me Will, like the guy got so into that that he was like addressing him in ways that if he was just like, whoa, like, damn, this feels kind of real.
And shout out to Will too. I hang with the family. He brought me out to Miami when his book release, and I got to hang with them, all of them, Jade and all of them, and Ellen and his mom. So good friends with the family.
How does that feel where you're like maybe I'm wrong, but 1 foot sort of in this A-list Hollywood level of circle, big money, big influence, global impact, box office killers, and then sort of being what I would say, if in class, and you can mark me if I'm wrong, sort of B class level, where you're got some resume, names and big, you could drop those names and people gonna know, but not big enough to be the Will Smiths.
Yeah, it's levels to it. You can't really jump into. These men have, like Denzel, Will Smith. The work they have is incredible. So you have to be realistic. You know what I'm saying? I'm not there yet. And there's no problem with not being there. If you have 17 people here and you say on your mark, get set, go, and everybody run, if you freeze everybody after 1 minute of running, everybody is not in the same place. But I can be looking at the person in front of me like, damn, I want to be where you at. You closer to the finish line. But there's 5 people behind me like, I want to be where you at.
Yeah,
you closer to where the guy at that's at the finish line.
I think that's important to understand, though.
Yeah, you have to be okay with deleting everybody from around you and saying I'm okay with where I am and I'm moving at the pace I'm moving. I'll be where I'm supposed to be. I'm not in a race with anybody. So there's A and there's B and there's C-list actors, but I'm not even classifying myself in any of that. I'm just working. And I'm just happy to fall in love with what I'm doing. And then everything else will work itself out.
Does it feel good, though, to have those associations? Like, for me, when I work with certain people or I have friendships with, like, Johnny Nunez and people like that who have accomplished so much, like, as a photographer or some of the people that I've met or NFL guys that have achieved a certain level, have peaked at a certain level of success and seen what it's like to perform in front of 60,000 people or whatever. How does that necessarily feel to know, okay, I'm here, they're there, but they still showing me love. They still bringing me out. They still pulling me into these events and places like that.
Yeah, it's powerful, man, and it's, you know, that I spent the night at Floyd Mayweather house. You know,
that's amazing.
And you know, I showed him some of my work and all of that, and got to eat with the family.
How does that happen? How does Floyd Mayweather invite Jermel Howard?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
So I wrote a film about a female fighter, and I told him I wanted to, you know, to show it to him, and a friend of mine was like, I'll set that up, and then so she set it up, and then he's like, come on out, man. So I came out and hung out with them, and ended up going out to eat. We all went to eat, and then went to his house and showed him everything. So everybody was like, yo, you off the chain. This shit is fire. Like, love it and all of that. So, you know, those things like that are precious. You know what I'm saying? Because it keeps you knowing that I am where I'm supposed to be. I sat in the car with 50 Cent for like an hour and 40 minutes, and I'm like, you know, you a fool for saying that. You came in the game crying, fussing, and we end up rapping the whole song. You know, and having fun, like, you know, and just getting close to people like that, and them showing me love. It's amazing. It gives you a purpose to know that this is where I'm supposed to be at this time. And it's almost like when I was going through a hard time in L.A. when I first started, and I was basically homeless, and I got taught how to write. But also when I left getting taught how to write, I found $20 in the middle of the street.
Let me ask you a question. How did it feel to be homeless in Los Angeles? Because I've been homeless to some degree in my life, and it hurts to be homeless in Los Angeles or anywhere, really. How does it feel to you to be in that predicament?
That was, I think you need to be stripped away. Mike Tyson said you need to be at the bottom to start to move to the top. And I think you need the things to be stripped away. That was the second time that happened to me. And being homeless.
Okay.
The first time I was in North Carolina,
How do you being homeless in North Carolina? Sounds brutal.
Yeah, it was very brutal. It was very cold. This is why anybody that know me know I love breakfast. I can eat like I eat pile of grits, eggs, 7 eggs, pile of grits, big breakfast, right?
Yeah.
And it's because every morning I was so hungry. Like the pain was crazy.
Just eating your spinal cord, your stomach was
basically, yes. So I got in trouble. This is the time right before I went to jail, actually, because I.
What year was this? How old were you then? What time period were you talking about?
This was, I want to say 2000. It was like 99, 2000.
Wow. I just try to put myself in where I was at when you were going through that. And we're both sitting here now. So
indeed. And that's a story. You know, I went to jail. But before that, I was homeless there. So what happened was I ended up moving out there with my kid's mom. And I had a dispute with her sister, and she wanted me to leave because they were staying together. Yeah. But the mom wanted me to, was kind of bringing me from New York there. I was bringing my daughters there to live with her because I had my daughters, and I was bringing her there. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Okay.
Bringing them there, my twins. And then, so I'm like, all right, they can stay here. But she's like, why don't you stay? You know, so then I end up staying, but the sister was there, and I'm like, we don't, let's get our own thing after a while. I'm like, we don't need to, I got a little job and all that, and I'm like, we're going to get our own house without your sister, because me and her didn't get along. So the sister like, oh, you trying to break us, my family? I'm like, this is my family. And all I'm saying is I want to be with my family alone. So we had a dispute. She wanted me to leave. I got kicked out. So that's how I ended up homeless. So every day I was starving, like every day, literally was starving. And I found, it was a white kid that I met actually that he was like, yo, come smoke with me. I'm going to talk to you. And then gave me a pistol. So I'm like, I'm hungry, got a pistol.
Oh, God.
I'm not crazy, so I'm not about to do nothing crazy. But what I did do was I was robbing a couple drug dealers. And,
oh, shit. So you was a stick-up kid.
Yeah, I was robbing a couple drug dealers to eat in the morning. And, and then the one time, this guy I bumped into, he was like, yo, you playing a dangerous game. And he had his gun out, and I was in the store.
Oh, shit.
And he was like, you playing a dangerous game, man. I was like, well, if you was in my position, you'd be playing the same game, bro. And he was like, yeah, I will be careful. He walked out. I was like, oh, that's the cue. I got to go. That was it.
Yeah, because
so,
now he knows that you got a gun and you doing
yeah,
this shit
but
too.
also spiritually, I think it was just like it's time for you to transition into
So
something.
how did you?
Yeah.
So how did you get out of that?
Robbed one more person and took the money from that and jumped on the bus and came back to New York. But when I got to New York, I got locked up with that gun.
How did that happen? Did they
So so what happened was a friend of mine picked me up, and he's one of the people that's like a loud, pop off kind of guy. He picks me up, and he stops at a store, and he's having an argument with somebody at the store. He opts out, and then he's telling me, Sharp. He used to call me Sharp back in the days. Yo, Sharp, come here, man, pass me the gun.
Oh no, okay,
bruh. I'm like, fam, why would you even yell out that like on this block in Hempstead? At that time, Henry Street was like a hot block, you know.
Yeah.
And he says that, and before you know it, here come the detectives, and everybody rush. And he runs one way, I run another way, and they catch me, and that's how I got locked up for a gun. Yeah, a long time ago. So that. People look at it like, when you being judged, people be like, oh, you must be crazy running around with, but it was all circumstantial. You know what I'm saying? One thing led to the other. I didn't go to North Carolina with a gun like I'm going to be going, it was just,
it's funny how one relationship links to next, to the next, to the next, and then
100%.
Maybe you lose work, you're not working here. Did you ever work regular jobs? Did you ever have like regular?
Yeah, once.
Once. Okay.
Yep. I twice. I'm sorry, twice.
Okay. Where'd you work?
Once, when I was in school, I got it when I had my daughters. I went and tried to work at McDonald's.
Okay.
And nothing wrong with McDonald's, but it just wasn't for me. Had like
I can tell you a few things is wrong with working at McDonald's.
Yeah,
but I mean,
like four.
I'm not judging no one who does, but I can tell you what this difference.
It's different.
I got you.
When 4 people came in and, that I knew, and they was just like I just felt the energy was just crazy. I said, I can't just do this. I'm done with this shit. And
because there's something inside you that says this bigger purpose, and this just keeps your frequency down.
There you go. And I didn't.
And the check isn't enough to
be like, forget that. It ain't. It's not enough for that. So I left that. But when I got locked up and I came home, I had to get a job. So I got a job in Sears. And
I worked in Sears a long time ago.
Yeah, I was in Sears, and
Dusty
it just
Sears on Fordham.
Right. So I'm in
2 weeks, and then I quit.
They quit. That was going me. So my PO knew something at that point. She was like, you're gonna do something, man. You're gonna do something great. Like I can, when we talk, I can tell you're not like a lot of people. You're gonna do something great. Cause I was like, I want to leave Sears, and are you gonna lock me up because I'm not about to sit here like me. I'm arguing with the manager every day.
Because you don't want. It's something about that feels like you're in jail again.
There you go. I'm just locked.
Something
I don't
else
have.
Unlocks your spirit.
There you go.
Do this and actually be rewarded for it and get do the right. You can flourish from that.
Yeah. Yep. And left that, and good thing, because after that is when I actually got the bumped into the Fat Joe people. It all happened like.
So do you feel like a lot of it? Because your journey seems quite. How can I put it? For you to meet the Fat Joe, I feel like that. There's a lot of people who just live and they don't really bump into things like that bump them into the next thing, that bump them into the Burger King thing, that bump them in.
It's river, man.
What do you think that is? Because I feel like I'm on that. I have that same thing where sometimes regular jobs can be hard.
Yeah.
You're a bit of a rebel.
Yeah.
You're not conformative to what they want, but you are great at what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to be in a different position so that you can flourish with what it is, and they're trying to compress you. But then you run into people and things nudge you this way, and then before you know, you find yourself over here, and then you're in this place. What do you think? Is that? What is that?
It's like when it's raining outside and the river forms by the curb, and you put 2 straws in it. And the straws are just going, and one straw bumped the other, and it moves, and then it goes, and they just going. It's like that. I see. I call it like the river of life, and I try to show my mother and family the same thing, but they don't get it. I respond and I react off of energy and how I feel. I'm like, I'm going to LA. I'm out. People, don't do that. I left. It went through some times, but I got what I was supposed to get out of it.
Yeah.
I got taught how to write, and I was homeless after that, and then left. You know what I'm saying? So you just following the energy and what you feel, and it just aligns
Do you feel like sometimes following that energy does put you in compromising situations?
all the time.
Yeah.
It has to. Do you think that if you go in the gym and you
Your idea is to work out.
and your muscle is like, every time you go to the gym, I'm in a compromising? Yes, yes, it have to, because how is it going to get stronger if you don't break it down?
So then I guess it would be fair to say then that there's certain people, and I would put myself in that category because I'm willing to go after what I enjoy and what brings me exhilaration in life, and the idea that it can also take care of you financially or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you feel you're different than maybe a large percentage of people? Do you feel like there's a bit of a difference between you and other people?
Yes.
Because sometimes I feel like that, and I know that's like not looked at as to be the most proudest thing to say, but I do start, as I've lived my life, and I've lived in London, I've traveled across the world. There are people who are just, and I don't. It's not a right or wrong thing.
No.
It's more of a like thing,
It is.
it's like, okay, you guys are happy like that, and
Yeah.
Whereas for people like us, I feel like you got this thing, this compass in you that's like, nah, I gotta.
Yeah.
Somehow do something outside of that.
Right. And it's as the Neo in the Matrix effect.
Yeah, right.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's when you know you're out of it's almost like astral projection kind of thing. Like you're not you're not in this dimension that everybody's seeing. And I try to explain dimensions to people and how real that is, like with some people are blocked literally. Like right now, if you blow air into your hand, you can't see what that is, but it has a color.
Yeah.
It bothers me that I'm blocked from seeing this color.
Yeah.
And we only can see 1% of all color. So that means that there's a lot of shit we can't see right now
and you feel
that
some
exists.
people can see or feel that.
There you go.
within a
Some
sense. Yeah,
people can see, and they're in a different dimension.
I
than
wonder,
other
I've
people.
always wondered what that is, because I always feel like I feel and see things that, a lot of people just ain't. They not even.
They're not gonna
They're
be
not
able
there.
to.
They're not on
Yeah.
that station.
It's
They
just
on-
like, don't make this right. What do you mean, don't make the right? That's the way to go. I don't know. Don't make the right. Go this way. We getting flat tire going that way.
Yeah.
But everybody don't have that.
Yeah.
Everybody don't have that intuition, that thing inside.
Yeah.
That's guiding. You want to call it alignment. Everybody is not in tune with that. Some people are made, and I have to, one of the laws of the 12 laws of the universe is the law of allowance. I have to start allowing people to actually be that robot.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was different. I try to change people all the time from being that. I'm let me show you the truth of, and it's just
that will destroy you.
There you go.
It will destroy you.
That has
Yeah, and
been
if
heavy
anything,
on
you'll
me.
build enemies. Because I'm like that too. I'm like, if I know something, let me share, let me talk about it, let me try to give inspiration, and there's so many, and I'm talking about like, I lived in Europe, so it doesn't matter. Like, even it's the same thing across the board. There are people who just reject and don't want nothing to do with what you're talking about.
That is it.
And you doing that is just wasting all your energy trying to provide the understanding, because you want to be around people that feel like that too.
Right, but the way to do it is to actually connect with people
right
that
people.
already.
Because you ain't got to really do too much talking.
There you go, because they know already.
Yeah.
It's like the guy said in the Matrix. Like, I know this is not a stake. I know it's a program.
Yeah.
And I don't want to know it's a program. I want to, he wanted to just accept it as stake. He don't care that it's a program.
Yeah.
And he want to be. I just
good
want to
with
be
it,
tricked. I want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
And
right
there's
here.
people that are like that, and you have to accept that. They like the trickery. I told somebody the other day. I said, he said, you feeding your kids Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I said, it has trisodium phosphate in it.
That's some crazy stuff.
Yeah,
that's in America. They don't do that in the UK. There's a lot of
right on the box, big as hell, in black, dark, bold. All the other ingredients is light. In bold print, it says trisodium phosphate. And they like, well, I mean, what? I said, listen, Put in trisodium phosphate in your Google. Put it in, a box comes up that's red, white, and yellow. It says TSP, trisodium phosphate. You can get that from Home Depot. It's paint cleaner.
Oh my God. Why is that in the food?
I'm like, yeah, but when I say these things and it's like I'm looking weird to people, it's like, oh, you want to be in the, okay.
You want that steak.
You want the steak.
Yeah,
okay, you want it to be a steak. Go ahead. No, you good. I don't eat that though. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to the other spot and I'm gonna find some grits and eggs or something. But I'm not gonna eat trisodium.
You know what I'm saying? That can be a hard life to live sometimes because you're always trying to rationalize people around you to have a comfort zone too.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you kind of stress yourself out because you realize that's the case. So what I wanted to know, out of all of the things that you've done now, what is something that you can give back to young people who are a bit loopy and don't really have that confidence yet and maybe going through the homelessness that you're going through right now and they want to do something but they're a bit pulled between that being a regular person and giving up on it and then going after and listen to that voice. What are some things you could say after all of these experiences, associations and connections?
Yeah.
What is something you can tell to the younger generation?
I would say just learn how to read the universe in alignment, because that's going to change your life. My mom was going through something where everything she was trying to do, it was not happening. And I was like, Ma, it's not supposed to happen. Maybe there's something else that's supposed to happen, but you're not reading it right. And you keep forcing this thing. I can't get it. I can't get this job. I've been trying. I did all the things I said. That's not for you though.
Or maybe there's more you got to do.
There's something else you got to do. And finding that out that's the fun part, because once you figure it out, you can figure anything out, because it's nothing but just having the patience to just look at it from a whole. You know what I'm saying? So once you start looking at it from a whole, like, all right, I am not doing this here. This is not happening here. I tried this here. None of that's okay, maybe I'm supposed to do this here. Let me try to open this door, or let me try to do this differently. So I'm not doing none of those things that's not allowing me to come in.
Yeah.
And just go to the thing that's allowing you to come in. That's the river of life I'm talking about. The flow it's what's flowing.
Yeah.
Stay with what's flowing.
Like
and
water.
That's
like
it.
Bruce
That's
Lee
why
said.
People hate New York drivers. I feel we drive pretty well because we know how to merge.
Yeah.
You go to Georgia and you don't merge right. They stop and she stop, and I'm like, just flow into,
find your space,
find the gap
in.
and get in, and just keep. As long as it keep flowing.
That's a skill you got to learn for sure.
No, indeed. But that's the part I would tell everybody. Going through whatever they going through, just learn how to read things correctly. Don't look at it like a failure, or
read the information in front of you and apply it the right way.
Apply it the right way. And, don't look at things as a failure. It's you don't fail until you stop. Yeah. When you stop, that's a failure. It's a wrap. You're not doing it no more. Okay, you failing. But if you keep going, you just learning things and learning new ways to figure the thing out. Just don't quit.
Oh, you heard it from Jermel. Don't quit. So really quick, because I know we're getting short on time.
Yeah.
You write
Yep.
and you do music. Can we talk about that just really quickly?
For sure.
I know you got 2 books, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the books really quick.
Yes,
and
yes.
The record that you got that's really dope that I really like.
Thanks. Yeah. The books, How Men Act in a Relationship and Why. And then I have another book that's Jermel Howard Quotes, and both of them are on Amazon right now. The Jermel Howard Quotes was a #1 seller when it first came out.
Okay, so you heard it, man. Get both of those books.
Yep.
Whether in the UK or the US, which I'd love to dive into, but time is of the essence.
Yes.
Also, I love this record, Push It, by your artist named Mel Howard.
Mel Howard, that's my alter ego.
Talk about that real quick, and maybe the music where they can find it as well, and how you
Indeed. So the music, so basically the song is called Push It. So I played Tretch in the Salt and Pepper movie, so I wanted to have something for the soundtrack that was kind of similar to what they did back then. So they had the Push It song, and so I kind of did the Push It my way. And for the soundtrack, so that is available on everything, Spotify, iTunes, all the good stuff that everybody, YouTube Music. Also, what was the second part you asked?
No, I mean just about the music, where they can get it from.
You get it from get it from Spotify, iTunes, all of that. There will be a follow-up song, and it is on another soundtrack. It's on I Got Problems, which is on right now. It's on BET Plus. So
okay. Well, listen, you got to Google Jermel Howard. You got to check all the movies he's on and featured in.
Yep.
The music as well as the books. Tap in with this brother because he's got a lot to bring to the table. He has a real story of trials and tribulations, something that I can connect with. And the brother is tapped in, man, and I can feel he's connected to something, and he's just following where that's bringing him. And if it's brought you to Floyd Mayweather's house and Will Smith, I think you're circling on some sort of frequency that's very high vibrational.
Absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much, Jermel.
Thanks, brother. Yep.
And shout out to the UK, man. Make sure you check out Jermel Howard. Okay, get him on every aspect: books,
that's right,
music, the films.
New show coming out now. It's called The Family Business. I just got booked for that, so I'll be a new character on that show.
Where's that gonna be at?
Right now it's on Netflix. I'm not sure where the new season is going to land. But right now the first seasons are on Netflix right now.
Well, you heard it first from Jermel Howard. This is Demetrius Behind the Lens. Shout out to my man DWI. This is the Creative Vibe Podcast.
Yeah.
And we're signing out.